What's up, Casper fam? Today we're going to explore a very rare opening response to the French. In fact, not an opening response since we are having white. This is called the Alapin Gambit that you can use to surprise your opponents while giving up a free pawn in the opening stage. Watch and learn. Back to the second move after pawn to d5. In the Alapin Gambit, the question that begs to be answered is why playing bishop e3 on the third move? Here is the reason. We know that French players play like robots or like programmed chessbots. Sorry for those of you who are French players. I also play the French at times, but there's just too much memorization. That's what I'm talking about. I don't mean you are robots, even though you play like them. Anyway, point is, French players love playing pawn to c5 on the third move, and that's where this bishop becomes so useful because we can easily take that free pawn. It's just a free pawn. Say, what if black takes? Well, they are allowing us to take with tempo and then attack the e4 pawn like that. There's knight f6, yep, but it's just a matter of time before we connect our pawns on the queen side, not to mention that anytime we want we can castle long. In this position, it is white who is way ahead in development. How do we win back the e4 pawn, or how do we take advantage of this pawn? Play g3, bishop g2 and that. Sometimes castle long, involve your rook and win some material. Anyway, that was just the idea behind bishop e3. Back on move 3. So before I play a game on leeches, let me just show you a little bit of theory in the Alapin Gambit. So when you play bishop e3, you are kind of saying no to pawn to c5. That's why you're going to see most of your opponents taking on e4. Now you begin developing all your pieces based on this misplaced pawn. Perhaps starting with knight d2 immediately. You just want to get that pawn back. Again, note how we are stopping black from playing pawn to c5. So in this position, black only has two moves, knight f6 and pawn to f5. If knight f6, you are safe. So you just continue developing all your pieces as highlighted based on black's misplaced pawn on e4, like that. You're going to get back that pawn, like it or not. For example, c3, you want to play queen c2 next. If they play pawn to b6, you know they want to strengthen that pawn. You can play pawn to g3, bishop b7, bishop g2. If c5 comes, you always have knight e2 so that if they take, guess what? You take back with the knight. If pawn to e5 is ever played, you always have knight 4 b3, by the way. Knight f5 is just absurd. It's not clear what you want to do, even though that's playable. But you just want to play it safe. Sometimes knight 4 b3 is the way to go. You're going to play queen c2 next. Nothing will stop you. I mean, from winning back this pawn. And believe it or not, most of the times you're going to be castling long. In some rare cases, like in this position, if black happens to find the move queen d3, stopping this queen c2 strategy, there's another way you can kill them. If you want, you can even repeat the position like this. Say they play queen d5, you go back to g2, you want to play queen c2, right? That's the idea. If they come back, okay, now go pawn to g4. It's obvious they are not going to leave the d3 square alone. Remember, you can advance your kingside pawns in the Alapin Gambit since you have no intention to castle short. At best, you want to castle long. If they play h6, you go h4. Because anyways, you know that at the end of the day, you're still going to manage, chasing that knight from that square. Rook takes, you have bishop takes. The knight needs to go, knight d5, and now bishop takes, attacking that queen. If knight takes, you have bishop takes. If knight takes, you have rook takes. End of story. But anyway, you won't see that stuff happening a lot. After bishop b7 and bishop g2, your opponents will be playing c5, after which you go knight e2. So whenever you see c5, just go knight e2. If pawn takes, you take back with your knight. If pawn to e5, you go knight 4 b3, play queen c2 and castle long. Or depending on your taste, you can even castle short. Just that to me, castle long comes with tempo. Sometimes you can castle short if you just want to play it safe. The e5 pawn and the e4 pawn are one. So that's like one pawn there, and it's easier to get back this e4 pawn anytime you want. Like even in this position, you can just go knight takes e4. Knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes. The only line you want to study the most in the Alapin Gambit after pawn takes and knight d2 is this pawn to f5 line. But let me give you a hint. Pawn to f5 equals pawn to f3 right away. So you want to put your light squared bishop on c4 later on. After that, if black takes, guess what? You simply go knight g takes f3. Done. knight f6, now bishop c4. Sooner or later, black is going to castle short, but they are going to run into this pin. For example, you can continue with queen e2 here. If you want, you can castle short, not much of a stretch, like this is okay. And after this, that's what I'm talking about. Now you have moves like knight g5, queen e2, all targeting the weak e6 pawn. This is how you're supposed to play the Alapin Gambit. For example, queen e2. If h6 may be stopping you from playing knight g5 or bishop g5, well, you still have bishop f2, paving the way for your queen you want to take with check. If rook e8, you got bishop h4, among many other good options, even pawn to c3. I mean, it's all about the position. This pawn on e6 is black's long-term weakness. All the pieces are going to be glued to this pawn, defending it. And if I ask you, does this look like the normal French defense that people struggle with? Nope. This is a sideline you need to study if you want to be crushing the French defense like nah. And sometimes what I like doing, after castling short, is playing the move knight h4. Not objectively the best due to some tactics and that, but most people don't see. Although they have eyes, they play moves like knight c6, allowing me to take on f5. I just wanted to show you the power of this bishop c4 pin. Anyway, so now it is time for me to test the Alapin Gambit against any random opponent on Chess. If you like what I do on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel. Remember, you are not doing it for me. You are doing it for the existence of this channel, or rather for this channel to survive. The more you subscribe, the more I feel motivated. Just wanted you to know that you are more important than a donkey that can't watch my videos. Right, time to be serious. Elbows on the desk. Let's move on. I'm playing against a 2783 rated opponent. Do they know how to defend against the Alapin Gambit? Let's see how a 2700 can play this. Wow. c5, maybe c3. Take back like this. I c3 makes a lot of sense. Second, what did I just do to my life? I think let me just do this. Why not? Can I defeat a 2783 rated opponent with my dubious openings? Or rather, with my dubious opening. Why are the dogs barking outside? Am I losing this game? Although, what is happening? Let's do this. I want to play knight f4. And get rid of the last squad bishop. My opponent is now thinking, what are they going to do to my soul? I don't see much that black can do in this position. Who is this guy, by the way? Why can't I just attack the queen? Ah, I didn't see that coming. Oh, damn, that's a clever move. Okay, now I have... Wait a second, can I take... No, I can't. I mean, how is my opponent finding all these moves? What can I do in this position to save my teeth? I think this... I'm also attacking the knight if you think about it. I'm sure you guys were looking at bishop takes h7 check, but that was king takes and my thing was still hanging. Queen takes f3, I probably met on the next move. So if there's anyone who needs to be very careful in this position or in this game, it is me. It is myself. Yeah, I just need to take that light squared bishop. Yeah. There's nothing much going on in this position. Oh, this guy is losing. Ah, what a selfish guy. He is planning to play rook check and checkmate me like that. For those of you guys who don't know what is happening, if I take the knight, my opponent is going to take my bishop. Is it? Wait, before taking my bishop, they want to give a check. They are going to give a check. Ah, and there is this. God, this guy is evil. What has happened? This guy is very evil. So I didn't see this move. Bishop. What? Now I can do this. So the knight on d4 is a poisoned knight. Now I can do this. Wait. Can I attack that? Maybe I do this. Defending everything. This guy is evil. So that knight wasn't a free knight, and I didn't see it until I zoomed in my eyeballs. If I lose this game, I don't know. I don't know what will happen to my eyes. Oh, damn it. Let's do this. No, I'm winning this game. I'm winning. I should win this game. Unfortunately, my opponent just resigned. Great! I just defeated a 2700 rated player like nothing. My opening was super solid. And what did I just see? Oh, who am I? God! By the way, you can check out my courses at www.KaspaChess.com or on my Patreon page. That's how you support this channel, by the way. I don't ask for donations or free money. So the way you support this channel is by joining one of our membership tiers on Patreon or simply buying my courses. That really helps.